Exhausted and surrounded by blue flames, he struggles to count his kills, already 3,000. His blade sinks into another creature's flesh, the kill count climbing into the tens of millions. A reptilian beast is instantly decapitated, the number ticking up once more. With every swing of his glowing blade, another life is extinguished from the horde. Beast after beast falls before him, a werewolf and a clawed demon cut down in a single motion. This battlefield is a blur of claws and fangs, all meeting the same swift end. And still he fights on, a blue phantom of death in a sea of red monsters. His weapon is now permanently tainted by the endless slaughter he has committed. This endless war makes him question how it all began, how the world fell apart. A memory surfaces, feeling like it is from another lifetime entirely. This scene shifts to a peaceful night in the city before everything changed. A young girl, full of innocence, points up to the sky at something strange, but the moon is twisting into a swirling, unnatural vortex of red and gold. In an instant, a gateway to another world rips open in the night sky. Down below, the unsuspecting crowd mistakes the terrifying sight for a simple lunar eclipse. One man with a telescope gets a closer look, his face frozen in disbelief, because what he sees is not an eclipse, it is a horde of monsters waiting to descend. An entire army of grotesque creatures prepares to pour out and unleash chaos upon the world. Deep within that monstrous dimension, a hidden key was the only thing that could shut the door. But if humanity failed to find it in time, an apocalyptic calamity was inevitable. In a world under siege, a group of chosen superhumans called the Awakened emerged, their sole mission being to find the key that would stop the endless monster horde. And one warrior vows to carve a path through the chaos for his comrade to find it. Trusting his team, the red-haired fighter leaps forward into the unknown depths, where he finally discovers the ornate, glowing key they have been searching for. He reaches a serene, watery chamber, questioning if this place is truly safe. But without hesitation, his hand closes around the artifact, securing their only hope. Confirming its purpose is to shut down the dimensional space once and for all. And outside, the ominous cracked moon begins to heal as the world watches in awe. But a dangerous thought crosses his mind. What if he turns it the other way? This discovery changed everything. The key could not only close the gate but open it, transforming a world-ending disaster into a new era of wealth for the Awakened. 5 years later, the world is completely different, now dominated by these dungeon raids, where a young, powerless man is held at the mercy of a powerful Awakened. Surrounded by his supposed allies, he knows he is just an ordinary, disposable person. And in their eyes, he is nothing more than an insignificant ant to be discarded. His body smashes into the earth below with a bone-shattering impact. Just as he is about to welcome death, he finds himself surrounded by monsters. But then a mysterious locket appears before him, showing a smiling woman inside. And in that moment of despair, his redemption appears, a woman he calls Jin Yu. He screams as the power he always wanted surges through him in a torrent of fire. But this incredible strength came at a terrible price, leaving him with lasting regret. This scene shifts to a new, perilous location, the Mound of No Return dungeon. Inside, a lone swordsman battles a monstrous arachnid with a powerful, glowing strike, his attack slicing clean through the creature's eye with brutal finality. Watching from the sidelines is a young man, completely stunned by the display of power. His companions quickly snap him out of it, reminding him they have a job to do, and the logistics team leader barks orders for everyone to get moving immediately. This is Fang Wanji, a 19-year-old just trying to get by on the dungeon's support crew. A job created because Awakened must kill monsters before the dungeon membrane vanishes. His team is responsible for supplying the fighters and harvesting materials from fallen beasts. But it is a dangerous role, as any monster that slips past the front lines is a death sentence. As a regular human, Fang Wanji knows he is an anomaly here, finding nothing of value in the carcass. Nearby, an exhausted fighter reveals he is only taking this risk for someone named Jin Yu's hospital fees, and when he desperately calls for water, Fang Wanji is immediately there to provide it. This fighter scoffs at the bottle, disgusted by the monster blood on Fang Wanji's hands. Undeterred, our boy offers water to others who just whisper about him being trash. He then approaches their leader, a man called Brother Kun, offering him a drink with a smile. But the man just stares down at him, his gaze cold and utterly dismissive. In the next instant, he smacks the bottles from Fang Wanji's hands, spilling them on the rocks. A brutal kick sends our boy flying as his attacker screams in rage. This red-haired leader orders his men to unleash their fury on the kid. And his cronies immediately swarm him with a barrage of vicious blows, leaving him dazed on the ground, questioning why this ambush is happening. Without a word, a heavy boot grinds his face into the rocky terrain, his tormentor sneering down, mocking him for daring to question their authority. A surge of power emanates from the leader's foot, shaking the very ground, and with a single stomp, he cracks the earth open in a show of force. Brother Kun yanks him up by the hair, ignoring his pleas of mistaken identity, dragging him to the very edge of the newly formed, perilous cliff. This leader finds his victim's desperate denials amusing in the face of death, revealing he knows his name is Fang Wanji, confirming this is no mistake. He holds Fang Wanji over the abyss, his reputation the true reason for this execution, and with a final shove, our boy plummets into the darkness below, screaming. Kun and his lackeys watch him fall, mocking his supposed cowardice to the end. To ensure no trace is left, he prepares to destroy the instant's dungeon key, causing the entire dimension to violently collapse in on Fang Wanji's falling body, burying him under an avalanche of stone and debris in a final, crushing impact. Yet beneath the rubble, his eyes flutter open, shocked to find he is still alive, only to see a monstrous, sharp-toothed beast looming over him in the darkness. Trapped within the collapsing dungeon, Fang Wanji finds his body is completely unresponsive. Suddenly, a massive clawed hand slams down, crushing him against the jagged rocks, but the first beast is swatted aside by an even larger, more terrifying creature. This new monster inadvertently saves him, leading to a brief moment of false hope, because his rescue was a fluke and the scent of his blood has drawn an entire horde. Completely surrounded and still wounded, he knows there is no way to escape this time, and even a small, flying creature lunges at him with a screeching cry, infuriating Fang Wanji, who grabs the tiny beast by its head with bloody hands. With a roar of defiance, he hurls the creature away, refusing to be bullied. But the small monster smacks directly into the eye of a much larger predator, which lets out a furious howl of pain, its attention now fixed on our boy. He looks up in horror, realizing his small act of defiance has provoked a true nightmare, a towering, mutated behemoth that now looms over the entire battlefield. A massive tentacle whips down with incredible speed, leaving him no time to react. This impact sending him crashing into the earth with bone-shattering force. Mortally wounded and bleeding out, he feels his consciousness begin to fade, his locket floating before his eyes as he accepts he cannot return to his old life. Lying broken amidst the rubble, his life slips away with each ragged breath, and the locket falls open, revealing the cracked image of the woman he fought for. As the monsters close in, his last thought is an apology to Jinyu. A final thought flashes through his mind, his promise to earn money for someone's care. Broken and bleeding, he accepts that this time he has failed completely, and tears stream down his face as he whispers a final apology to Jinyu. That single tear lands on a glowing object, triggering a pulse of energy, causing the surrounding monsters to reel back in confusion at the sudden flash. In an instant, a pillar of golden light erupts from the ground, vaporizing the entire horde. This divine beacon pierces the darkness of the collapsed dungeon, a symbol of new power. And within the blinding light, a serene eye opens, observing the scene. A massive pair of wings unfolds as an angelic being descends toward our boy, who can only stare up at the divine entity with a glowing halo and ethereal grace. A system prompt appears, offering to bestow upon him the sacred angel talent, and the angelic being clarifies the terms. The giver will lose the talent forever. Her hand gently touches his forehead as she calls him by a familiar name, Zyojai. In that moment, a torrent of golden power surges directly into his being, as she entrusts her power to him, urging him to live a good life with her gift. A strange, glowing sigil materializes above his head, marking his transformation, and his eyes now reflect this new power, a symbol of his second chance. From his back, magnificent wings of pure light suddenly erupt. A divine golden flame now dances around his outstretched hand, ready to be wielded. And from that sacred fire, he summons an ornate golden sword, reborn as a warrior. Golden energy erupts from Fang Wanji, who screams as wings of light burst from his back. Now an angelic being, he hovers just out of reach of the monstrous horde below. With a calm expression, he prepares a devastating attack, a purple cross of energy forming. This attack slams into the ground, carving a glowing cross into the earth. In an instant, a creature is shredded into pieces by the violent energy. Another beast is ripped apart, its body disintegrating in the purple aftershock, leaving a trail of destruction as he soars through the blood-red aftermath. A system warning flashes, urging him to adapt to this newfound talent immediately. His eyes narrow with focus, the raw power still settling within him, surrounded by the dismembered remains of the creatures he just annihilated. But another beast emerges from the shadows and he orders the escaped monster aside. A towering, one-eyed abomination confronts him and he defiantly announces his presence. Soaring upward, he meets the creature head-on with a powerful, glowing strike. Yet another warning appears, signaling his new power is already nearing its limit. This beast retaliates by firing a concentrated beam of destructive energy from its maw, forcing Fang Wanji to block the immense blast with his sword and halo. This sheer force of the attack begins to overwhelm him, his power being suppressed. And in that moment of struggle, he remembers he is just an ordinary person, looked down on by the awakened. A critical system error flashes across his vision. His body and this talent are incompatible. He realizes that even with this incredible power, these monsters are still determined to kill him. A critical system alert flashes, warning that the awakened's resentment is causing a total collapse. Inside his mind, a digital interface in his eye confirms the catastrophic failure, and his rage manifests as a winged form, vowing to kill everyone who wronged him. Multiple error messages cascade across the screen, signaling the system is beyond recovery, followed by a blinding flash of impact as something strikes him with immense force. A jagged blade pierces his side, but he grits his teeth, defiant against those who scorned him, revealing the ornate golden sword that seems to be the source of this power. But a dark, corrupting energy suddenly surges through the blade, twisting its nature, shattering its form in a violent explosion of dark power and splattering blood. A horrifying, one-eyed creature now looms over his transformed body, roaring in challenge, yet his desire for vengeance only intensifies under a glowing crimson sigil. As the monster reveals its full, terrifying form with writhing, powerful tentacles, its massive limbs descend upon Fang Wanji's lone, glowing silhouette. But he roars back, challenging the beast to bring its full might upon him. A new system message appears, announcing his very talent is now mutating, and his body erupts in a torrent of blue flames, taking on a darker, armored form. With this newfound strength, he unleashes a devastatingly fast swing, instantly shredding the monster's tentacles into a shower of severed limbs, leaving the creature stunned and maimed by the sudden, brutal counterattack. In the darkness, his glowing blue eyes narrow with cold, lethal intent. His new form solidifies amidst the swirling blue and green energy. Landing with crushing force, his armored feet shatter the rocky ground, and his eyes now burn with a cold blue fire devoid of all mercy. A system prompt confirms the mutation, awakening the Death Angel talent. Now clad in dark demonic armor, Fang Wanji stands reborn as a harbinger of destruction, leaving the one-eyed monster stunned by this sudden, terrifying transformation. He offers the beast a single chance, telling it to summon all its companions, and the creature lets out a guttural cry, taking the bait completely. Its roar echoes through the collapsed dimension, a beacon for the horde, summoning a massive swarm of winged monsters from the blood-red sky. Unimpressed, Fang Wanji mocks the pathetic quality of the reinforcements, then takes a single, earth-shattering step forward to meet the challenge. He leaps directly into the fray, his dark blade a blur of motion, carving through the swarm with a series of devastating, crisscrossing slashes. Surrounded by the exploding remains of his foes, he prepares for the next wave, his eyes widening as he spots a much larger target in the chaos. With incredible speed, he brings his glowing blue sword down upon a multi-eyed beast, which can only stare up in shock at its impending doom. Fang Wanji roars that there will be no escape this time. Plunging his blade deep into the creature's skull with absolute finality, a new threat emerges, a massive golden insectoid queen leading her terrifying swarm, but Fang Wanji simply eyes the hive of corpse king bees ready for another fight. Raising a gauntleted hand, he declares that from this day forward, any creature that dares to bring him harm will be utterly annihilated, and with a single snap, he unleashes an explosive wave that vaporizes them all. He notes his power is not fully awakened yet, the blue aura still unstable. Standing over the carnage, he commands a shadowy mass on the ground to release. His gaze remains cold and unwavering, a warrior reborn in this collapsed dungeon. He scans the piles of monster corpses, searching for any remaining treasures. Finding countless crystal cores scattered across the ground, the prize for any awakened. Picking one up, Fang Wanji prepares to absorb its energy to grow stronger. A system error flashes across his vision, declaring him unable to absorb it. Confused, he examines the core as his dark, shadowy armor begins to dissipate. An explanation reveals these cores are the primary source of power for the awakened, so he questions why he cannot use it and tries to force the absorption again. Straining with all his might, he is shocked that the crystal still resists him, but then he feels a different kind of energy flowing into his body. Realizing it is the death aura from the slain monsters all around him. This means he does not need crystal cores if he can absorb power directly from corpses, and he now understands his path to strength is simple: just kill more monsters. After this realization, Fang Wanji rushes back to the site of the collapse, now confident that in his current state, getting revenge would be simple. He lands in a desolate forest, the only survivor in this shattered dimension, where he spots a faint glow and questions if it is the dungeon key. Finding a golden skull, he realizes his enemies meant to trap him here forever. Clutching the artifact, he seethes with rage, refusing to let them succeed. But for now, he leaves the key behind to focus on honing his skills. His first year trapped in the dungeon becomes a brutal montage of endless slaughter, and soon he is strong enough to face down hordes without his special armor. A single stomp is all it takes to crush a creature beneath his foot. Casually holding a severed limb, his expression now cold and battle-hardened, he even resorts to eating monster flesh, driven by one important memory. His mind flashes back to a city rooftop just 1 year prior, remembering a peaceful moment spent reading with the woman he loved, Jin Yu. She showed him a picture of a rare item, a Seraphiz unlocker worth a fortune, explaining that a key is created when the world inside a dungeon restarts, a process that only occurs once every single monster has been slain. Back in the present, seeing a monster fall, he understands what Jin Yu meant, and with his blade ready, he knows killing everything is his only way out. This next year is even bloodier as he carves through hundreds of thousands more. After 3 years of endless slaughter, he has killed over 1.5 million monsters. Lying exhausted on a mountain of corpses, he watches another soul ascend into the void. But a deep sense of hopelessness sets in, fearing this battle will never end. Suddenly, a tidal wave of dark energy and monstrous forms crashes down upon him, revealing an endless sea of glowing eyes emerging from the abyssal darkness. He now understands this entire horde originates from the monstrous sea before him. In that moment, his eyes widen in shock at a new presence he senses. A sudden, terrifying realization dawning on his face as he looks up in alarm. For 10 years, the monsters have grown stronger, and an S-rank behemoth now emerges, igniting his blue-flamed armor as he charges forward to meet the new threat head-on. This creature's immense power sends him crashing violently into the jagged red terrain, knowing that even a single mistake against this powerful foe will mean certain death. With a surge of energy, he unleashes a swift, blade-like attack of his own. Diving straight towards the monster's gaping maw to land a decisive strike, and his blade connects with brutal force, sending a massive spray of blood into the air. Wounded and breathing heavily, the intense battle is clearly taking its toll on him, and for a moment he considers that giving up might be the easier path. But his respite is short-lived as yet another horde of creatures emerges from the shadows, his resolve hardening as he remembers the face of Jiang Kun, the man who betrayed him. And above all, he cannot forget Jin Yu, the one person still waiting for his return. Hovering over the horde, he reaffirms his goal to kill them all for the unlocker, a bloodshot eye revealing his desperate, maddening desire to finally escape this hell. This 12th year of his imprisonment begins, marked by a lone, glowing treasure tree, Strangely, he has not managed to kill a single monster for an entire year, because only one final monster is left, a griffin drawn to the glowing treasure tree. Seeing his chance, Fang Wanji dives from the sky to begin the final battle. He descends upon the beast with blinding speed, aiming a decisive blow at its head. But though his blade tears through its flesh, the creature's wounds instantly regenerate. Towering over him, the beast prepares a devastating counterattack with its massive talons, its claws smashing the ground as he admits this foe has troubled him for a whole year. This creature then unleashes a powerful energy attack, its form glowing with immense power, engulfing Fang Wanji in a massive, fiery explosion that shakes the very ground. It soars over the scorched earth, leaving a field of erupting energy in its wake. But Fang Wanji stands defiant, annoyed by the beast's repetitive energy barrage. A grim smile crosses his face as he sarcastically laments his own terrible performance. Revealing he's been chased and beaten by this same attack for the entire year, he is forced to retreat as the relentless explosions close in on his position. But instead of fleeing, he turns to face the onslaught, manifesting an energy bow, taking aim at the massive sphere of destructive energy hurtling toward him. This griffin smirks, revealing it was baiting him into this defensive posture all along. Fang Wanji hovers above a field of erupting energy pillars, narrowly avoiding the blasts. But he is suddenly struck by a barrage of projectiles that explode against his armor. This source is a massive, feathered griffin that dives down with incredible speed, which acknowledges him as a worthy opponent despite his apparent weakness. Its magic, speed, and power are described as nearly invincible in a fierce clash, and Fang Wanji realizes this is the first SS-rank monster he has ever faced. This beast offers him a chance to live if he agrees to become its slave, demanding an answer while holding him at its mercy with a show of power. Unimpressed, Fang Wanji scoffs at the monster's typical method of torturing humans, then grimly questions whether he can even be considered human anymore. Enraged by his defiance, the griffin unleashes a devastating final attack, sending a storm of energy blades converging on him from all directions. At that moment, Fang Wanji recalls a hidden power called the Black Tide activating, a strange ability that made him temporarily immune to all attacks. It also made any damage he dealt to monsters completely unhealable. His form now shrouded in shadow, he tells the beast it made a fatal mistake, raising his blade and coldly telling the creature to prepare for its end. He unleashes a new technique, the Death Necklace Cut, forming a ring of energy, which instantly slices through the griffin's neck in a flash of blue light. This colossal SS-rank monster falls, its reign of terror finally over. Standing amidst the ruins, Fang Wanji understands the world's restart is finally happening. Above him, a massive vortex of pure energy swirls open in the dark sky. This brilliant light reflects in his determined eyes, his goal now within reach. And from the vortex, a glowing, ethereal form begins to materialize from the light. He instantly recognizes the legendary Seraphiz, the key Jin Yu described all those years ago. Landing with immense force, he shatters the ground, ready to claim his prize. His entire being is focused, every ounce of power ready to be unleashed. With a powerful leap, he soars into the air, wings of darkness propelling him upward. But another entity suddenly appears, a strange, liquid-like being guarding the path. Undeterred, Fang Wanji charges directly toward this unexpected fluid guardian, plunging his armored hand directly into the creature's strange, watery form. Sinking deep into its core as ripples of energy spread through its body, this creature seems shocked to find him suddenly inside its very being. A strange cry echoes from the entity, its form destabilizing around him. Trapped within, he commands the guardian to give him what he came for. His patience gone, Fang Wanji roars his demand, his eyes burning with blue fire. This liquid being writhes in agony under the force of his will. Its entire form contorts violently, unable to resist his overwhelming power. And from the chaos, a new, winged angelic shape begins to emerge. Finally, his hand closes around the ornate golden key, his escape now a reality. With tears of relief, Fang Wanji celebrates his final victory after decades of slaughter, and the hellish landscape of the dungeon begins to give way to a new dawn, as a brilliant pillar of light erupts, signaling the world's long-awaited reset. He finds himself standing alone in the center of a massive, smoldering crater, looking around in disbelief as he questions if he has finally returned to the real world. This desolate emptiness makes him wonder if he is still trapped in the dungeon after all. His thoughts are cut short when a tusked monster suddenly lunges from the shadows. He barely manages to block the attack, sustaining a minor injury in the process. Infuriated that he must still fight after believing he had killed every last monster, with a powerful leap, he brings a makeshift weapon down on the creature's head, felling the wild boar in a single decisive strike that ends the immediate threat. But he is shocked that his current strength is only enough to defeat such a weak foe. He realizes all the death energy he'd accumulated was consumed to survive the dungeon's collapse, leaving him as nothing more than an ordinary low-level awakened once again. Wandering through a forest, he spots a cabin and decides to search for food, and cautiously peeks inside, calling out to see if anyone is home. He is met with a grim sight, discovering the skeletal remains of former hunters. After finding some clothes left behind, he prepares to face the world anew, discovering a map and realizing he has been gone for a staggering 20 years. With a new purpose, he steps out of the cabin, ready to navigate this changed world. He picks up the monster core, the only proof of his recent pathetic battle. Back in the city, Fang Wanji consults the map, a stranger in a familiar world. His finger tracing a path to the hospital, his only thought now is finding Jin Yu. A promoter for the Wild Spirit Guild bumps into him, handing over a flyer, and on it is the face of his betrayer, Jiang Kun, smiling back at him. A burning rage ignites within him, realizing the time for vengeance has finally arrived. As he sees Jiang Kun's face plastered on a massive skyscraper billboard hailed as a hero, this broadcast praises the traitor for defeating S-rank monsters and donating keys to the public, filling Fang Wanji with a cold, simmering fury at the blatant lies. His hand clenches, crushing the flyer as he internalizes his hatred. And with his target now clear, he walks away, knowing the guild only accepts the strong. His journey leads him to the massive, futuristic hospital he was searching for, noting with a heavy heart that the building remains unchanged after all these years. Inside, a desperate nun pleads with a pastor to save her dying son, but the man coldly informs her she cannot afford the B-rank core needed for the surgery. This pastor then violently shoves the distraught woman aside, telling her to get out of his way. But Fang Wanji catches her before she falls, asking if she is all right. This nun looks up in shock, recognizing him after 2 long decades. He immediately asks if she is Jin Yu's nurse and demands to be taken to her. With tears in her eyes, the nurse struggles to deliver some terrible news about Jin Yu. He stands before a tombstone, learning the woman he fought for could not wait for him. Fang Wanji reels in absolute shock, his entire world shattering in an instant. A memory flashes back, showing a peaceful sky as birds take flight. A nun explains that Jin Yu passed away nearly 20 years ago, right after he was trapped. In a flashback, priests desperately tried to heal her, but their blessings failed to save her life. And overcome with grief, the nun tearfully recalls preparing Jin Yu's final resting place. Fang Wanji can only weep, thanking the woman for her kindness through his own sorrow, offering her a glowing S-rank core to cover the burial expenses, a priceless treasure. This woman is stunned by the gift's immense value, refusing to accept something so expensive, but he gently presses the crystal into her hand, insisting she take it. Fang Wanji then reveals he knows her own son is sick, urging her to use it for his life, asking only for a moment alone to speak with the one he lost. Kneeling before the cold stone, he finally confronts his devastating new reality. Through his tears, he presents a handful of glowing gems he collected just for her, revealing a treasure trove of S-rank cores he had painstakingly gathered over the years. He had planned to cure her illness and make a necklace with the rest, but now that she is gone, the precious gems fall from his grasp, shattering on the ground. His life's purpose for the last 2 decades has become completely meaningless. Overwhelmed by despair, he apologizes for not being there as dark energy begins to stir, and his grief erupts into a massive wave of darkness, consuming the entire cemetery. Hiding in a cemetery, Fang Wanji watches a futuristic airship fly overhead, broadcasting a message. And overwhelming grief brings tears to his eyes as he listens to the broadcast. This message congratulates a powerful guild and offers a huge reward for praising Jiang Kun online. A name that ignites a dark, vengeful fury within Fang Wanji's eyes. In a fit of pure rage, he screams his vow of vengeance and shatters a massive tombstone. This shattered pieces of the monument rocket into the sky, striking the airship above, causing it to explode, which surprises a well-dressed man observing from a nearby balcony. Annoyed, he dismisses the president's airship exploding as disappointing and orders an investigation. While back at the cemetery, a strange blue energy rises from the graves all around. This death energy flows into Fang Wanji, who reveals he has already recovered half his strength. With some power restored, he heads into the neon-lit streets of the bustling city, his destination being the Awakened Mission Exchange Center, a familiar hub for hunters. Looking down at the diverse crowd, he notes how lively the place remains after all these years. A center that serves as a haven for freelance Awakened avoiding guild contracts. It also attracts outsourced support members, a role he painfully remembers from his past. Returning after 20 years, he reflects on how his own mindset has been completely transformed. He moves through the crowd, certain that Jiang Kun must have assumed he died long ago. A thug suddenly presses a gun to his back, but he remains calm, knowing he must lay low. Nearby, a burly hunter tries to sell a captured creature, eager to get paid and enter a dungeon. But the hooded vendor inspects the monster, noting it lacks a crystal core and is barely valuable. This muscular man demands more money for the monster parts, but Fang Wanji calmly holds up a hand. He recalls seeing these creatures before, explaining their crystal core is not hidden inside the body, but instead grows on the front of their claws to power the tentacles' movements. This revelation makes the brawny hunter ecstatic, realizing the huge profit from 6 grade C cores. He tries to pay Fang Wanji for the tip, but our boy refuses the reward, asking for a favor instead. And with a sly grin, Fang Wanji asks to join the man's upcoming dungeon raid. His request immediately raises suspicion as the hunter questions his true motives for entering the dungeon. Fang Wanji nervously claims he is just researching monsters, hiding his real goal of absorbing death aura. This man then asks about his awakened talent, to which Fang Wanji admits he has none, offering only support, which earns him a mocking laugh from a green-haired man lurking nearby. This newcomer scoffs at the idea, telling a talentless person to stick to simple guild missions to avoid death. This muscular leader apologizes for his teammates' harsh words, explaining the risk of bringing an ordinary person, as a single weak link could jeopardize the entire team's survival in a fight. Fang Wanji simply tells the man to ignore him, noticing the green-haired man's injured arm, and he directly asks the rude newcomer what happened to his wounded limb. This leader mockingly reveals his teammate was injured failing a guild test, exposing his own lack of talent, infuriating the green-haired man who curses him for being a blabbermouth. He reveals the wound is poisoned by a reptile, requiring a costly priest to heal. Then he glares at Fang Wanji, questioning how he could possibly know how to treat it. In response, Fang Wanji simply offers a knowing and confident smile. Fang Wanji approaches the vendor, asking for a single monster nail to treat the wound, and the green-haired man scoffs as he is told to swallow the ground-up remedy. But our boy reveals the nail was a distraction. He used his death aura to neutralize the poison, leaving the rude newcomer stunned as he unwraps his arm to find it completely healed. This muscular leader is ecstatic, grabbing Fang Wanji and welcoming the researcher to the team, though he insists they find one more talented person before entering the dungeon for safety. At that moment, a strange red energy swirls around Fang Wanji's shirt, unnoticed by the group, as a man in white armor dials a contact labeled Big Boss on his phone. This boss on the other end panics, asking if his son has been found, but the caller has intel instead, explaining he saw someone wearing the son's clothes and can even smell his scent on them. But his tone shifts ominously as he clarifies the nature of the scent, revealing it smells less like his son and more like his son's corpse. This boss orders him to follow the group closely and report back immediately. So the man in white approaches the team, asking if they still need another member, proudly declaring his talent is super senses and that he is an archer. With the team seemingly complete, the leader touches a glowing buckle on his belt, summoning a massive, ornate greatsword as he announces it is time to go. But Fang Wanji silently counts, confused why the leader said 5 when there are only 4. Deep in a forest, the team arrives to meet their final member, a lone, red-hooded person, whom the leader teases for always arriving first, but they simply state a dislike for crowds. A young man joins the group, questioning if the hooded woman is their 5th member, who is secretly hiding her true demonic nature behind a mysterious facade. This newcomer immediately identifies her, declaring she is a monster in disguise. Another teammate notes her camouflage is perfect, fooling even their archer's enhanced senses. But after killing 40 million monsters, Fang Wanji's instincts cannot be deceived. He senses no killing intent from her, a first in his long and bloody experience. And with the team now complete, their leader holds up a key to begin the raid. This key is crownless, signaling a low-level dungeon with no truly vicious creatures inside, which he activates, causing a swirling blue vortex to materialize before them. This 5 hunters stand silhouetted against the portal, ready to enter the unknown. Their muscular leader takes charge, telling everyone to keep up as they head in, while Fang Wanji follows the disguised monster, contemplating this strange turn of events. Just then, the green-haired man tries to stop him, warning him not to throw his life away. But a flash of cold fury from Fang Wanji silences him with a single command. This sudden intensity sends a chill down the man's spine, leaving him utterly terrified. And he stumbles back, muttering that our boy does not know what is good for him. Fang Wanji remains resolute, knowing danger awaits him whether he moves forward or back, and with his mind made up, he steps toward the portal, ready to face what is inside, walking into the blinding light of the dungeon entrance without a second's hesitation. This portal vanishes behind him, leaving only the quiet forest in its wake. Fang Wanji finds himself inside a fiery volcanic dungeon, poised for the hunt to begin. This muscular team leader begins the mission briefing for his newly assembled party, warning them about the lethal heat and toxic gases pervading the cavernous dungeon. Their primary targets are molten dogs, whose cores and molars are extremely valuable loot. As the physical combat specialist, the leader pairs himself with the team's mage, Akui. This crowd controller, Mozaiakin, is then assigned to work alongside the nervous archer, leaving Fang Wanji with the simple, demeaning task of collecting the monster loot. Just as he finishes speaking, the mage spots a horde of monsters approaching them. With only a 10-hour time limit, the leader orders the team to move out immediately, and a pack of snarling molten dogs charges forward, their rocky hides glowing with intense heat. One of the creatures lets out a vicious hiss, its wide maw filled with jagged teeth. Seeing this, the leader shouts for his partner and leaps into the fray with his greatsword. His powerful swing carves through a monster in a fiery blast of rock and lava, while dark projectiles rain down from above as the mage prepares her own powerful spell. Akui channels her energy, summoning a devastating frostbolt volley to annihilate them, unleashing a swirling vortex of pure ice magic directly at the incoming horde. Countless frozen shards materialize, raining down upon the fiery beast from the sky above. This ice projectiles easily pierce through the monster's tough, rocky exteriors with lethal force. In an instant, the entire pack of molten dogs is frozen and shattered into pieces. This mage then smirks at Fang Wanji, ordering the researcher to quickly collect the materials. Inside a fiery dungeon, Fang Wanji carefully pries a tooth from a massive monster's jaw. Holding the bloody tooth, he accepts this humiliation as a necessary step for his plans. Mission accomplished, he quietly sneaks away from the slumbering beast across the treacherous lava field. But his escape is cut short as his eyes widen in alarm, sensing an unexpected presence. 2 of the lava creatures have awakened, now looming over him with menacing intent. Nearby, a blonde swordsman and a mysterious hooded figure also navigate the dangerous dungeon, and the swordsman internally complains, wondering how he got roped into teaming up with her. Their distraction proves costly as they suddenly find themselves completely surrounded by the monsters. This swordsman panics, realizing his brief distraction has led them straight into a deadly trap. In sharp contrast, the hooded woman remains perfectly calm, telling him to wait for her command. As a strange, hypnotic energy begins to emanate from under her hood while she focuses her power, this energy washes over the massive creature before her, seemingly entrancing it. Its massive jaw hangs open, the creature's single eye now completely under her influence, and with the beast completely mesmerized, she has created the perfect opening for an attack. Turning to the stunned swordsman, she gives the signal to strike with a single word, now. He receives precise instructions, identifying the number of targets on his left and right, while the hooded woman feeds him a dizzying array of complex angles for the shot. Trusting her calculations completely, he lets loose a powerful, glowing arrow, his shot flying perfectly straight into the gaping maw of the hypnotized lead monster, and it ricochets with impossible precision, striking down multiple other creatures in one brilliant move. This archer weaves through the horde, his glowing arrow a blur of motion among the beasts, leaping through the air as he fires another perfect shot, clearing a path for his partner. With a confident look, he confirms the last monster is down, his job now complete. Elsewhere, the muscular leader and the mage are in a fierce battle, tallying their kills, while Fang Wanji stands motionless amidst the carnage, the leader's laughter echoing through the cavern. He internally scoffs at these weak monsters, noting that even they provide a sliver of his death aura. This mage Akui mocks his inaction, assuming the blood has left him paralyzed with fear. To prove her point, she unleashes a powerful frozen lance at an approaching creature, this icy projectile piercing its skull, causing the beast to howl in agony. Its eye glares with pain and rage, the frozen shard lodged deep within its head. And a look of alarm crosses Fang Wanji's face as he realizes her critical mistake. He screams at her to stop using magic, warning her to let the leader finish it off instead. Infuriated, Akui tells him not to order her around just because he helped the team earlier, and ignoring his warning, she unleashes an even stronger ice spell called Frost Roar, a wave of freezing energy washing over the monster, encasing it in a tomb of ice. In seconds, the creature is frozen solid from head to toe, seemingly defeated. But Fang Wanji grits his teeth, explaining that a non-lethal magic attack risks a dangerous mutation. Just as he says it, the ice shatters, revealing a terrifying new form beneath. This creature has evolved, its body now a grotesque mass of rock and rage, shocking the mage. This newly mutated beast towers over the stunned Akui, who now realizes the gravity of her mistake. This team's mage, Akui, decides to attack first, summoning a powerful glacial halberd. His icy weapon soars through the cavern with incredible speed and force. It shatters against the monster's hide, piercing deep into the molten rock. But the attack only enrages the beast, its massive eye glowing with fury. A terrifying lava titan emerges from the ground, letting out a deafening roar at the mage. And just then, Fang Wanji steps in, a strange blue aura flaring around his hand. This mage is sent flying helplessly through the air by the monster's power. Their leader watches in shock, wondering when his teammate learned to fly. But it is Fang Wanji's energy that gently lowers the terrified man to the ground. Akui immediately begs his boss to retreat, claiming the creature is too powerful for them, an idea the leader furiously rejects, refusing to leave without their hard-earned profit. He then calls on Mozaiakin, ordering the crowd controller to subdue the monster. She tries to use her power, but admits the beast is too strong to be fully controlled. This mage once again pleads with his leader to escape while they still can, but his voice trails off as Fang Wanji's blue aura begins to envelop him completely, leaving the leader confused as his teammate walks past him like a puppet. Both he and Mozaiakin can only watch, wondering if the mage has lost his mind, as Akui floats directly toward the monster's glowing core, ignoring all warnings. In the shadows, Fang Wanji reveals his control, manipulating the mage with his aura. He then sends the helpless man flying straight into the creature's heart as a living bomb. A massive creature's maw gapes open, its fleshy core pulsing around a single, glowing eye. Screaming in terror, a blonde-haired teammate is flung like a projectile straight at the monster's limb. Its single eye glows an ominous red as the fleshy maw begins to contract. But Fang Wanji sees his opening, knowing the creature's attack has a cooldown. Channeling his death aura, he prepares to manipulate the situation from afar. And suddenly, a massive dark sword materializes in the terrified man's hands, leaving him staring in disbelief at the weapon he now inexplicably holds. Utterly baffled, he has no idea where this mysterious blade even came from, but he is unable to resist as it drags him downward with incredible force. This unwilling warrior plummets straight into the monster's closing maw, screaming all the way down, and the blade erupts from the creature's back in a shower of rock and fire, causing the massive beast to split in two and violently explode. Fang Wanji reflects on his imperfect control, admitting it is hard to manipulate people with death aura, while the archer pants heavily, still reeling from the terrifying experience. Staring at the monster's remains in utter disbelief that he was responsible, this muscular leader appears, praising the archer for his hidden ace, admitting he was scared. And the archer plays along, nervously claiming that tough fights have made him stronger. From a distance, Fang Wanji smirks, amused at how easily the guy is taking the credit. With a 10-hour mission done in 3, the leader asks the team what they should do next. Then he hesitates, mentioning he has a suggestion but seems unsure if he should voice it. This muscular leader reveals their dungeon key was cheap because it is notoriously deadly. Inside lies an unexplored cave, a death trap where every previous explorer has perished. He suggests they brave the cave now, confident in Akui's power, much to her horror. But Fang Wanji calmly extinguishes a flame on his finger, signaling his approval. Taking this as a sign, the leader eagerly announces they are heading into the deadly passage, and the team approaches the ominous, skull-shaped entrance to the cavern. Standing at the threshold, the 5 hunters prepare to venture into the fiery depths, their leader warning them to stick together through the complex and dangerous terrain. In an instant, he turns around to find himself completely alone in the passage. Panicking, he decides his only option is to cling tightly to the powerful mage, Akui. Meanwhile, Fang Wanji stands by himself, completely unfazed by the separation. Knowing the local monster's tactic is to wait for intruders to go deep before sealing the exit, he deduces they must be lying in ambush near the entrance as blades suddenly shoot from the walls. And he spots the archer, realizing the man intentionally split from the group. This archer smirks, believing he has found the perfect chance to interrogate Fang Wanji without witnesses. But our boy simply utters a single word, seemingly expecting this turn of events. Towering, mutated monsters suddenly emerge from the shadows to confront him, sending the hidden archer into a panic, certain that even a B-grade hunter would die here. In a blur of motion, the entire pack of mutated beasts is instantly sliced to pieces, leaving the archer completely stunned as their dismembered bodies rain down around him. A confused lava monster stares at the blue blade passing harmlessly through its chest, but in the next instant, it and its brethren are sliced apart, shattering into fragments. Fang Wanji scoffs, wondering how long he must fight these weaklings to regain his death aura, when a single glowing red eye opens in the cavern's deepest shadows. Finally, a true challenge emerges, a massive lava titan that our boy deems a decent opponent. This titan immediately throws a colossal, flaming punch straight down at him, its fist descending like a meteor, ready to incinerate everything in its path. Yet Fang Wanji calmly raises a hand, conjuring a sphere of dark, crackling energy. This orb of pure power expands rapidly, pulsing with an ominous blue light, and it meets the fiery attack head-on, stopping the titan's assault cold. With just 2 fingers, he mocks the beast, asking if that is all the strength it has, which only enrages the monster, its maw opening to unleash a torrent of flame. Above them, a massive sphere of dark energy materializes, dwarfing the entire cavern, and the orb implodes with incredible force, sucking in all light and sound. Far away, the leader and his teammate are rocked by a violent tremor, completely bewildered, as the dark energy crashes down, shattering the cavern's rocky foundations. From the rubble, wisps of dark power rise from the defeated monsters, flowing directly into Fang Wanji as he descends from the air, absorbing their essence. This hidden archer trembles, realizing this kid is a monster he cannot possibly fight for his boss. Suddenly, Fang Wanji's head snaps around, sensing the archer's presence as he demands to know who is there. This archer's hiding spot is compromised, and he curses his bad luck. Before he can react, a blur of blue energy tears through the monster remains. Looking up, the archer sees Fang Wanji descending, certain his own end has come. Our boy lands directly in front of the archer, who is completely baffled by this sudden appearance. With a furious shout, Fang Wanji grabs the archer, asking if he really thought he could hide. But his target is not the archer, it is a mysterious red-hooded woman he is now choking. She struggles against his grip, trying to draw her sword as he mocks her resistance. His grip tightens, drawing blood from her lips as she glares back defiantly. At that moment, a horned woman appears, revealing she also wanted to kill someone named Jiang Kun. She then points out the eavesdropping archer, demanding an explanation from Fang Wanji. Our boy remains silent, calmly processing this new arrival and her accusation. This horned woman offers a deal. She will spare his life if they pretend this never happened. Without a word, Fang Wanji turns and walks away from the still stunned archer. Suddenly, the red-hooded woman he'd just attacked is standing behind him, sword drawn. She questions his actions, her eyes wide with confusion and a hint of suspicion. He casually presents a crystal core, claiming he is just support staff extracting loot. 5 hours later, the team emerges, with one member praising Akui for scaring the monsters away. This leader asks Fang Wanji if he saw anything unusual, to which our boy innocently replies number elsewhere in a seemingly peaceful forest. Several rabbits play undisturbed in the sunlight, but their peace is shattered by a glowing orb of energy materializing above them, sending them fleeing in terror. After the mission, the leader demands everyone present their gathered materials. Offering a paltry few crystals, Fang Wanji earns the leader's scorn for his small contribution, but he secretly pockets the rest of his haul, hiding his true earnings from the team, before suddenly revealing a massive pile of crystals that leaves the leader utterly stunned. Overjoyed by the unexpected wealth, the leader offers to buy everyone a celebratory drink, but Fang Wanji coolly declines the invitation, stating he will be taking his leave now. As he departs, the suspicious archer makes a phone call, telling someone they will proceed. He reports to his boss, requesting a massive payment to capture his son's killer. Alone in the woods, Fang Wanji notes his death aura barely grew, needing a greater challenge. His thoughts are cut short as a golden fist suddenly flies directly at his face, a powerful blow sending him hurtling backward through the air with incredible force. His attacker mocks him, questioning if he can fight back using his own death aura, but the energy attack is unexpectedly absorbed by a swirling vortex of golden runes. Fang Wanji stares at his hand, confused why his opponent's skills seem to counter his own. A new team of hunters emerges from the forest, their powers already flaring to life. This archer reveals himself, admitting he brought these experts to deal with him personally. He draws his bow with a smirk, promising that he will not actually kill him. Instead, he will just be breaking his arms and legs before taking him in. With his arrow aimed, the archer prepares to fire at the lone, unmoving Fang Wanji. But our boy's eyes and hair suddenly erupt with a powerful blue aura, revealing his true power. This archer chants a complex spell, golden runes swirling around his hands. Suddenly, Fang Wanji realizes his opponent has completely vanished from sight. A massive binding circle of red runes then materializes at his feet, trapping him. From his hiding spot, the archer completes his incantation, unleashing frenzy arrows. Countless magical arrows erupt from the ground, impaling Fang Wanji from all sides, and these projectiles transform into bindings, whipping him violently through the air. Taking careful aim, the archer challenges him to dodge the finishing blow. But with impossible speed, Fang Wanji snatches the arrow right before it hits his eye. This archer just smirks, revealing he is holding a detonator for a hidden trap. His special arrow then detonates, engulfing the area in a blinding flash of light, leaving Fang Wanji completely disoriented and temporarily blinded by the blast. In his moment of weakness, a cage of glowing red bones materializes to trap him. A woman with red energy and a man with orange hair appear, impressed by his resilience. While the archer warns his companion Shangti to keep their captive alive for questioning, Shangti just grins menacingly, reassuring the archer with a simple "do not worry." He then slips on a pair of heavy metal gauntlets, preparing for a brutal beatdown, adding that he cannot guarantee their prisoner will be able to speak when he is done. But before the punch lands, Fang Wanji spits out a small, sharp projectile. This tiny object shatters the man's reinforced gauntlets on impact, stunning him completely. Shangti collapses to the ground, his hands mangled and useless, screaming in agony. Still trapped within the cage of bones, Fang Wanji endures the crushing pressure, and the red-clad woman stares in disbelief at her partner's sudden defeat. Enraged, she unleashes her own crimson energy, preparing to strike him down herself, taunting him for daring to fight her with such a meager display of power. She lunges with a powerful kick, demanding he stop playing around, but he blocks it easily. This sheer force of his defense sends a shockwave through her body, drawing blood. At that moment, the archer casts a spell, conjuring a golden portal for a surprise attack. An arrow materializes from the rune's circle, but Fang Wanji simply scoffs at the tactic, catching the projectile with his bare hand and declaring the games are over. In a flash, he redirects the arrow's momentum into a brutal punch to the archer's face. With his opponent stunned, Fang Wanji closes the distance as the archer fumbles for his bow, appearing directly in front of the terrified man with cold, glowing eyes. Before the archer can even draw his string, our boy grabs the weapon itself, and with raw strength, he begins to bend the reinforced bow frame. A surge of power shatters the weapon completely in his hands, leaving the archer speechless that his 400-pound bow was snapped like a twig. Fang Wanji grabs the man by his collar, his patience clearly at its end, lifting him into the air while demanding to know who sent these assassins. He realizes if his true identity is exposed, he will have to kill all of them. Squeezing the archer's face, he mocks him, asking if he knows whose uniform he is wearing. This hunter accuses Fang Wanji of killing the big boss's son and playing dumb. But the blonde subordinate only regrets how picking up a jacket led to this disaster. In a swift motion, Fang Wanji strikes the man, demanding to be taken to this boss. A luxurious car with a glowing emblem signals their impending arrival somewhere important, and the vintage vehicle speeds through the darkness toward its destination, where the captured hunter sits nervously beside a completely silent Fang Wanji. He reports to a man named Manager Lu that he successfully brought their target in. But the manager sharply orders him to be quiet, reminding him the boss wants no talking, which sends the subordinate into a cold, terrified sweat. Their car soon pulls up to the imposing gates of a massive private manor, which slowly swing open against a backdrop of a starry night sky. With the path clear, the vehicle proceeds onto the sprawling estate grounds, escorting Fang Wanji down a red carpet toward a figure waiting on a throne. This big boss himself sits upon a throne of swords, exuding an aura of pure menace, his face contorted in a mask of cold, simmering rage, as the subordinate tries to offer some fawning praise for the meeting. This boss cuts him off with a chilling question about who gave him permission to speak. This terrified hunter can only cough nervously, his confidence completely shattered, while the boss glares down, dismissing him as nothing more than a brat. But Fang Wanji steps forward with a smirk, coolly greeting the powerful man before him. This man behind the ambush asks Fang Wanji if he knows why a car was sent for him, revealing he hired 5 mages to create a massive anti-talent domain to trap him, a trap he feared our boy would sense and avoid if he was not lured in. Inside the field, Fang Wanji confirms his spirit energy is completely sealed off, but he knows the situation is far more complex than a simple barrier. His eyes fall upon the boss, whose throne seems to be amplifying the domain's power, a measure taken to ensure not a single ounce of his talent can be used nearby. This traitorous archer suddenly appears behind him, mocking his apparent shock, explaining he was ordered to stay silent but used his senses to text the boss instructions. With the trap sprung, the boss finally rises from his throne, his feet hitting the floor, looming over Fang Wanji with an intimidating presence. He grabs our boy by the collar, demanding to know who sent him to kill his son. But Fang Wanji calmly denies the accusation, claiming he did not kill anyone at all, which infuriates the archer, who threatens to break his leg for talking back. A dangerous glint appears in Fang Wanji's eyes, his patience clearly wearing thin, and in a flash he breaks free from the boss's grip, catching him off guard. This archer suddenly screams in agony, clutching his now mangled hand. As Fang Wanji declares he is done putting up with this entire misunderstanding, he follows up with a devastating kick that sends the archer crashing into the pavement. But as the dust settles, strange red motes of light begin to appear on his skin. In a tense flashback, a powerful man interrogates a young captive about who sent him. This boy tries to explain, but his captor continues listing powerful guilds as suspects. Panicking, he insists he only found the item by complete accident, pleading his innocence. But the man explodes with rage, kicking the boy for shamelessly wearing his dead son's jacket. With his foot on the boy's chest, he orders hidden snipers to execute him on the spot. And in that final moment, the doomed son's eyes glow with a defiant light. This memory reveals the archer's boss standing over his son, cementing his quest for revenge. Back in the present, Fang Wanji finds himself in the exact same predicament, targeted by snipers. But a strange purple energy begins to twist around the laser sights, interfering with them, which rapidly expands into an intricate web that completely neutralizes the sniper's aim. A hidden marksman in a ghillie suit stares in confusion as his targeting system fails, while another in robotic armor finds his rifle completely entangled by the mysterious power. This ethereal web ensnares all the snipers, pulling them from their hidden positions with force, and Fang Wanji yanks them all to the ground, demanding they get down immediately. Now surrounded by his defeated assailants, he calmly asks if they are ready to listen, and the archer's boss watches from afar, realizing his security has been completely compromised. Sweating, he nervously asks Fang Wanji what he has to say now that the tables have turned. Our boy just gives him an unimpressed, almost bored look in response, casually adjusting his jacket as if the entire fight was a minor inconvenience, before pulling a white scarf from his sleeve with a deliberate, calculated motion. Fang Wanji offers to return the jacket, explaining he found it in a hunter's hut, and the archer reacts in shock, recognizing the mention of a hunter from Shiwa. He then points to a wound on his arm, claiming he got it from one of them. Our boy questions if they were just out drinking, which the archer nervously dismisses, revealing in a flashback his boss passed out drunk, so he took a job out of boredom. He frantically insists his only job was to cool the sniper rifles, not to cause any harm. Meanwhile, the boss's subordinate recalls hearing about an rank hunter also from Shiwa, and the archer confirms it, accusing the man of cannibalism and showing a bite mark. This accusation of cannibalism hangs in the air, catching Fang Wanji's full attention. He now remembers seeing a full skeleton in the hut, which he dismissed as a prop. He speculates the bones might belong to the boss's son, whose face darkens at the thought, and with grim resolve, the boss orders his manager to arrange a helicopter to Shiwa immediately. Their destination is a remote, snow-covered forest, shrouded in the darkness of night. Where a helicopter descends, its rotors cutting through the silence of the woods. Fang Wanji and the archer then approach the isolated hut where the jacket was found. Inside, the subordinate examines the remains, identifying the scent of poison in the boss's son. Noting the bite marks and jaw shape leave no room for doubt about the victim's identity. He turns to the boss, confirming with certainty that these are his son's remains. And a devastating scream rips from the boss's throat as he clutches a bottle in grief. Cradling the skull, he weeps, heartbroken that his son never listened to his warnings. In a flashback, the boss's son proudly shows his father his newly awakened powers, but his father scoffs, dismissing abilities in favor of earning money for the company. This boy believes becoming a powerful awakened one is the only path to earn his father's respect. Dejected, he turns his back on the man and walks out of the office, vowing to find a master and return strong enough to leave his father speechless. A subordinate asks the boss if he should follow the young master on his journey, but the man refuses, stating this training is necessary for him to inherit the business. This memory then shifts to the grieving father holding his son's skull, swearing vengeance. Cradling the skeletal remains, he demands to know who is responsible for this tragedy. This archer reports the killer belongs to a powerful guild under the command of Jiang Kun. Overwhelmed by grief, the boss lays his son's skeleton gently upon a couch, before ordering his manager to assemble all their forces for an all-out war. His subordinate warns him that directly challenging such a powerful guild is a suicide mission, explaining their target has public support and a war would ruin their reputation. Yet the loyal manager affirms he will prepare for battle if that is the boss's final command. This heartbroken father tenderly holds his son's remains, whispering that it is time to go home. As he carries the skeleton away, he promises to deliver the killer to him soon. Elsewhere, a group discusses the young master's death, noting the poison was surprisingly weak. A long-haired warrior reveals the same C-rank poison still managed to pierce their ice armor. In a different arena, an ice-wielding woman watches her opponent fall as she forfeits the match. In a different scene, a fur-clad fighter screams at the defeated archer, demanding he forfeit, and the archer admits the skill gap is too massive as a blue-haired man watches on. Later, that same blue-haired man finds that valuable A+ cores were stolen from a storeroom. Elsewhere, a cleanup crew carefully packs skeletal remains into a box near a helicopter. In another flashback, an older man tries to placate a teal-haired youth, calling it a misunderstanding, offering him anything he wants as a supposed show of gratitude for his help. But the youth makes only one request, a jacket to conceal his identity. This scene then shifts to an imposing, traditional dojo under a starry night sky, where the hooded youth arrives only to be turned away by guards at the gate. In an instant, the massive signs above them shatter and come crashing down, as a wave of dark energy erupts from the youth, sending the guards flying. Now inside, he stands in a hall filled with awards and photos, his aura glowing ominously. A group of warriors are alerted to his presence, wondering who this intruder could be, before he blurs into motion, wielding a massive, intricately designed blade. This guild members charge forward, warning him they will not hold back since he barged in, and with his sword poised, the youth prepares to meet their assault head-on. In a flash, the entire group is defeated, their bodies scattered across the floor. He points his sword at the lone survivor, who begs him to stay back in terror, but the intruder simply demands that he summon the new Shuhai hunter among them. Sweating and trembling, the man scrambles to obey the order without hesitation. A hooded man watches as his opponent is brutally sliced in two. Suddenly, a masked figure in a fur coat appears on the roof, taunting him from above. And he reveals two other rank assassins have also arrived to join the hunt. This hooded man deduces this new foe has devolved from consuming too many power cores. He then warns the two backup assassins that his business is not with them, but the one in the wide-brimmed hat just mocks his apparent arrogance, while his white-haired partner suggests they just tear their target into 3 pieces. In a stunning reveal, the hooded man smirks, glad his bait for spirit energy worked. With that, the trio of assassins leaps down from the rooftops to attack him all at once, but Fang Wanji unleashes a torrent of dark energy to meet their assault head-on. This white-haired woman is shocked by his power as her weapon is covered in spikes. Her partner yells at her to stop playing around and get serious with their opponent, but Fang Wanji coolly asks if they even have the chance to get serious anymore. With a simple point of his finger, he tells them to look down at their feet, where shadowy spikes erupt from the ground, impaling 2 of the assassins instantly. A blast of red energy suddenly flies toward him from the side. As the fur-coated leader scoffs at him for using such childish tricks, Fang Wanji simply retorts that the man is overestimating himself, reaching out his hand. Enraged, the assassin unleashes a powerful poison blow directly at him, engulfing Fang Wanji completely in a torrent of corrosive pink energy. But as the corrosive energy fades, Fang Wanji simply spits the poison from his mouth, and the fur-coated leader screams in agony as the reflected attack melts his own face. With a contemptuous gesture, our boy sends the entire blast right back at its source, slamming the devolved assassin brutally into the stone wall behind him. He coldly lectures the man, calling those who rely on status and power trash, and the assassin begs him not to underestimate him as his face begins to shift. His head then transforms into a monstrous reptilian creature, biting down on Fang Wanji's hand, but the beast is immediately impaled on the very sword it tried to attack. Fang Wanji scolds him for foolishly absorbing cores far beyond his own skill level, leaving the devolved hunter defeated and bleeding out on the tiled floor. With a smirk, our boy offers a sarcastic thank you for the pathetic fight, standing over the remains of the man who thought he could win with brute force alone. Suddenly, a new fighter with a yellow mohawk appears, admitting he wanted this guy gone anyway, and impressed by the display, he invites Fang Wanji to join him for a test. A moment later, a look of dawning horror crosses his face as he recognizes the intruder, because he is now staring into the eyes of the very man he was sent to hunt. This once confident challenger now bows nervously before Fang Wanji's intimidating presence. Feigning ignorance and asking if they have somehow met before in a panic, Fang Wanji promises to jog his memory by peeling his skin off, blurring into multiple afterimages. But the man narrowly dodges the next slice, a fiery aura flaring up to protect him. A new challenger arrives at a fighting pit, casually standing over a fire as an observer calls him crazy. And watching from the side, Fang Wanji wonders if his opponent has a fire talent since he never saw him move. This tattooed fighter draws his blade with a brilliant flash of light. Standing over a fallen rank, he notes his opponent must be in the top 200 now. But Fang Wanji places a hand on his shoulder, telling him he challenged the wrong person. And the fighter explodes with golden energy, boasting that he is ranked in the top 100. He throws a powerful punch, which Fang Wanji manages to block with his forearm. Before our boy catches the fist, his own blue aura flaring against the fighter's golden flames. Twisting his opponent's arm, he sends the man stumbling back in surprise. But Fang Wanji examines his hand, confused how he got burned despite blocking the attack. This tattooed warrior just smirks, mocking him for trying to analyze his talent. Declaring his fighting style is too complex, he lunges forward for another assault. So Fang Wanji rips a massive stone slab straight from the floor, hurling it directly at the charging fighter with incredible force. This slab cracks as a core of intense energy meets it head-on, and the tattooed warrior shatters it completely, declaring the move useless. His confidence vanishes as he suddenly spots dark, spiky constructs below him, but he still throws a fiery punch, taunting that he is not the only one with a weapon. At that moment, Fang Wanji has a revelation. His opponent is not a fire-class talent at all. He then leaps forward, his arm transforming into a massive dark blade to strike him down. Dark, ethereal energy wraps around Fang Wanji's hands as he prepares for close combat, and his opponent is shocked he is brawling instead of using his known special talents. This tattooed man struggles to defend against the relentless energy-infused strikes, their high-speed exchange of blows shattering the very ground beneath their feet. Tauntingly, the man asks why Fang Wanji is not using his fire abilities, but our boy just smirks, asking if the rapid pace is making it hard to concentrate. He correctly deduces his foe can no longer use his mind to speed up electrons, leaving the tattooed warrior stunned at how quickly his power was analyzed. Fang Wanji presses his advantage, enjoying the fact that his opponent is now flustered. He then reveals he first grew suspicious when his metal zipper began to burn. In such close proximity, it was strange that only the metal was affected, and seeing the man instantly heat a stone confirmed his theory about electron manipulation. To test this, he attacked with his spirit sword, which his opponent dodged instead of burning. Confirming that he had figured out the man's carefully disguised talent, he explains that mind-based powers fail when the user is overwhelmed, unleashing a powerful attack. Enraged at being called useless, the tattooed man glares from the rubble, bleeding but defiant. He rises from the debris, warning Fang Wanji not to get arrogant just yet. Claiming at full power he can accelerate hundreds of different particles, not just electrons. A massive column of fiery energy erupts from his body as he unleashes his true strength, promising with a bloody grin to create a heat field that will incinerate our boy completely. This assassin unleashes a massive fiery explosion, vowing to reduce his opponent to ashes. But the blast backfires, severing his own arm as he stares in utter disbelief. And in the next instant, dark energy whips around him, slicing through his body. His limbs are completely severed as he screams in agony among the rubble, while Fang Wanji calmly explains that his opponent's spirit energy is hollow and ineffective. Terrified and broken, the man pleads for mercy, admitting his defeat completely. Fang Wanji coldly promises to send Jiang Kun to meet him in the afterlife, raising his blade for the final blow as the assassin begs him to wait. A sudden memory flashes through the man's mind of a young victim recognizing him. With his last breath, he desperately tries to bargain, mentioning someone named Su Jinyu, and that name immediately catches Fang Wanji's attention, stopping his blade. This strike is too late to halt, however, as the sword plunges deep into the man's chest. And grabbing the dying assassin, he frantically demands to know what happened to Jinyu. This man simply offers a cryptic, dying smile, his secret kept forever. Leaving Fang Wanji frustrated with only a dead body and unanswered questions, he looks over the scene of destruction, pondering the assassin's final cryptic words. This assassin's lifeless face offers no more clues, his mouth still stained with blood, which slowly curls into a haunting, posthumous grin of defiance. Elsewhere, a pulsating organ reveals the assassin survived by splitting his heart's particles, a 20-year-old trick. He plans to reattach his limbs within minutes and immediately report this incident to Kunji. This mohawked assassin lies defeated on the ground, his arm completely severed. In utter disbelief, he questions how this could have possibly happened to him, as shadowy spikes tear through his face in a brutal, final assault. This entire area is obliterated, sending bodies and debris flying beneath a dark vortex. Amidst the chaos, Fang Wanji stands completely unscathed, his power still radiating, deciding that since his cover is blown, he must now erase all evidence of the fight. From the rooftops, he looks down, confident that no one will ever discover what he did. But a mysterious woman in a bodysuit watches him walk away from the scene. This horned observer silently judges him as reckless for causing such a commotion, while another woman in a maid outfit walks off, annoyed that he spoiled her plans. Elsewhere, a new group of hunters faces a towering insectoid-rank monster. His allies warn their leader, Jiang Kun, against recklessly fighting such a powerful beast, but the red-haired warrior just scoffs, boasting that he is a newly minted rank himself. As the creature unleashes a powerful energy beam, Jiang Kun prepares to show off his skills, leaping directly onto its head and slashing at its glowing red eye with his blade. He triumphantly calls for his team to record his very first rank kill, only for the monster's head to suddenly erupt around him in a flash of light. In the next instant, its massive pincers pierce straight through his body, causing him to scream in agony. And he realizes with horror that he was hypnotized by its eyes the entire time. While his panicked teammates offer to get help, he bravely tells them to run for their lives. A wounded warrior stares in shock as a monstrous purple claw descends upon him, but its pincer is suddenly intercepted by a brilliant flash of golden energy, and an angelic woman catches the man, narrowly saving him from the beast's strike. This monstrous creature roars in fury as its prey escapes its grasp, while the winged rescuer soars into the sky, evading dark tendrils from below. Promising to heal him, she carries the wounded warrior to safety. A warm, golden light envelops the man as he groans in pain, and in his dazed state, he wonders if he has already reached heaven. Sometime later, he awakens in bed with two companions to the sound of a ringing phone. Annoyed by the late-night call, he demands the person on the line have important news. This information he receives is horrifying, causing him to leap up in shock, as he cannot believe the report that an entire house and its occupant have vanished. Furious, he orders his aides to arrange a press conference for the following morning, and the next day, Jiang Kun arrives at the conference to a crowd of adoring supporters. He consoles an elderly couple, promising to be their son and provide for them now, before an associate clears a path, ushering the leader onto the main stage. At the podium, he addresses the recent destruction of the Mountains Hall, promising an investigation, and feigns sorrow, claiming the loss of his comrades pains him more than anything. He then announces plans to rebuild the ruins into a welfare agency for victims' families, but the crowd erupts, demanding justice for the murderer, not financial compensation. A man with a cross-shaped scar vows to his parents to destroy their murderer, and he crushes a nameplate with a freezing grip, promising to show them his power. Elsewhere, two men watch a news report, noting how someone has massively gained public support, and the older man is asked who he believes is responsible for these events. A silent, knowing glance is exchanged between the two, an unspoken understanding passing between them. With that, the subordinate agrees to bring Fang Wanji to his boss at once. However, Fang Wanji bluntly refuses the summons, stating he is not going, so the subordinate insists the boss merely wants to thank him for helping with his revenge. With a glowing eye, Fang Wanji questions how they knew it was him, asking if he left any evidence, and as a crow flies past, the man asks him to come out to discuss the matter. This camera pans to a tall stone bridge where our boy admits he is not very good at hovering, leading the subordinate to realize he has been there ever since leaving the gate. Now driving together, the man asks if Fang Wanji wants to return to where he originally lived, but our boy refuses, explaining that being in that place only makes him want to cry. Their destination is a massive castle-like estate with towering blue spires, and inside a traditional room, the subordinate announces Fang Wanji's arrival to the boss. This older man offers him a cup of calming tea, addressing him as my little brother, and both men take a sip, their expressions carefully neutral and unreadable. Breaking the silence, the boss calmly states that Fang Wanji went a bit overboard, and with glowing eyes, our boy repeats his question, demanding to know how he was identified. An old man sips his tea, accusing his guest of secretly making an entire hall vanish. And Fang Wanji calmly admits he acted for reasons beyond just simple revenge. Tapping the table sharply, the old man instructs him to put down his cup. He then pours more tea, warning that opposing Jiang Kun means becoming an enemy of society. Fang Wanji's eyes flare with surprise, wondering how this man investigated his past so thoroughly, as this powerful figure questions if he can handle S-ranks or even the top hunter. With a sharp look, our boy asks if this is a warning to abandon his quest for vengeance. But the old man lights a cigarette with a smirk, declaring they will get their revenge together. Before they can act, however, he explains that they need to prepare 3 essential things. Across the table, he lists the requirements for success: a plan, allies, and money. Exhaling a cloud of smoke, the man confidently states he possesses all 3 of those things, leaving Fang Wanji to realize the simple truth in his words, feeling isolated from the world. Pinching his nose in disgust, the old man suddenly complains that Fang Wanji reeks of corpses, and he summons an attendant to escort Mr. Fang to a shower in his son's room. Once they are alone, a subordinate questions the boss about the riskiness of this new alliance, but the boss simply asks his aide if he thinks the kid looks a bit like his son. After a moment of thought, the aide agrees that there is indeed a resemblance, though he adds that the young master was more handsome as Fang Wanji is led away. Alone in the room, Fang Wanji lifts his shirt, revealing a scarred and powerful physique, before tossing his clothes aside to finally take a much-needed shower. Deciding to use a downstairs bathroom, Fang Wanji walks in, completely unaware of who is inside, and his entrance startles a woman in lingerie who demands to know who he is. Ignoring her, he steps into the shower, turning his back to the commotion. This woman's shock turns to disbelief as she recognizes him, calling him brother. Overcome with emotion, she rushes forward, crying tears of joy that he is alive. Fang Wanji is taken aback by the sudden emotional embrace from the young woman, but their reunion is interrupted by the maid placing glasses on her mistress's face. Our boy watches the scene unfold, his expression a mix of confusion and surprise. As with her vision restored, she panics, screaming about a gangster in the bathroom. In the ensuing chaos, the maid is forcefully shoved aside by her flustered mistress. Taking control of the situation, Fang Wanji calmly tells the maid to wait outside. He then questions what she is doing here as she melts into the floor like a shadow. After his shower, Fang Wanji dries off, the strange encounter still on his mind. And the maid reappears, prompting him to ask why she does not just kill Jiang Kun. Revealing her true horned form, she explains that anyone approaching Jiang Kun is thoroughly vetted, which leads Fang Wanji to press her for her actual plan of attack. She admits she is biding her time, waiting for an opportunity under the boss's protection, before dissolving once more to avoid arousing any suspicion from others. Later, he is offered a jacket as he prepares to leave the room. And the old man appears, revealing that the flustered woman was his own daughter. Fang Wanji explains their meeting was an accident before asking the boss for a black jacket, which causes the old man to explode in rage, accusing him of trying to confuse his daughter. Just then, an aide rushes in with urgent news about a problem with the Mountains Group Fund, pointing to a tablet that shows a list of donors with one name at the very top. And the boss stares in shock, recognizing the name as Ida from the Black Dragon Guild. Hearing that Ida wants to collaborate with a rival, the boss storms out, ordering his aide to follow, then turns and barks at a surprised Fang Wanji to come along with them immediately. Elsewhere, a mahjong game is in full swing as a player slams down a tile. This men laugh and curse around the table, completely unaware of the chaos about to erupt. As a vintage car suddenly smashes through the wall, sending the entire room flying. Amid the rubble, the boss and Fang Wanji emerge as a man with a red prosthetic arm issues a warning. This hulking man furiously confronts them, questioning if they have a death wish for attacking the Black Dragon. But Fang Wanji moves in a flash, his dark energy sending the brute crashing into the ceiling. 2 more thugs leap down to attack, one unleashing a swirling vortex of energy from his hands. But our boy effortlessly blocks the assault, shattering the man's hand in the process. With a swift kick, he sends the second attacker flying backwards through the air, who then reveals a hidden snake preparing for a venomous strike. Fang Wanji snatches the serpent from his hand, threatening to smash his opponent's head with it, and he makes good on his threat, brutally slamming the man's face into the concrete floor. This old man watches in horror, yelling at him to stop and asking if he thinks he is fighting monsters. This old man warns his aide Lao Lu that their new ally is too reckless to control his strength, and understanding the order, Lao Lu calmly faces down a massive gang of hostile fighters. With a single step, he unleashes a strange, swirling energy across the ground, trapping the entire group within a massive, watery vortex of his own creation. His opponents are suddenly enveloped in a thick, disorienting fog, unsure of the source. A female warrior warns her allies that their target is not to be underestimated, realizing too late the true nature of his terrifying and deadly talent. As a spectral Iron Maiden materializes from the mist before her, in an instant she is brutally impaled from within, a victim of his cruel power. Lao Lu walks through a field of defeated foes, each sealed inside an iron prison. Elsewhere, a different crime lord sits weakened and hooked up to medical machines. As an associate approaches the ailing boss, demanding to know what he wants, this visitor sarcastically praises the man's supposed charity and recent donations, before violently pressing a lit candle into his forehead, demanding repayment of a debt. He accuses the boss of laundering money through Jiang Kun's foundation and bankrupting his own guild. This visitor explains he is only causing trouble to maintain a fragile truce between the guilds. He offers a grace period on the debt, pouring a dark liquid into a goblet, but in exchange he demands to know everything about Jiang Kun's secret activities. Cornered and terrified, the guild leader sweats under the intense pressure of the interrogation. Back in the present, Lao Lu simply tells his boss that he understands the situation completely. This subordinate kicks the old man's oxygen tank, cracking the canister open. Furious and gasping, the informant realizes his vital air supply has been cut off. His interrogator then pours a mysterious liquid directly into the tank's valve, demanding the old man reveal everything he knows about his powerful boss. This man confesses under duress, admitting he helped acquire a talented child from the mountains. Explaining he initially believed it was to groom elite forces, but then normal children were added. He desperately claims to know nothing else, reaching for the oxygen tank, so the subordinate places the mask back over his mouth and nose. With a deep breath, the old man expresses his relief, thinking the danger has passed. But the boss suddenly appears, grabbing his head and threatening him to stay silent. With the interrogation over, the powerful man turns to leave with his subordinates. Fang Wanji watches him go, impressed by his methods and ready for the next move. Later, Fang Wanji sits alone at a futuristic bar, nursing a glowing green drink, reflecting on how long it has been since he has had alcohol, not since his time with Jinyu. On the screens above, an announcement for a charity banquet catches his eye, hosted by Jiang Kun. This man's face fills the screen and Fang Wanji recognizes him instantly. Taking a drink as he remembers when Jiang Kun was just an ordinary guild member. His grip tightens on the glass, questioning how the man rose to power in his absence, when suddenly a foul-smelling drink is poured directly over his head, turning to see a drunk man vomiting all over him in the middle of the bar. This drunk man's friends try to intervene as he loudly demands another round, but a long-haired stranger instantly knocks the brawler unconscious against the bar. He then scolds his fallen friend for drinking vodka while rifling through his pockets, before turning to Fang Wanji, wiping his head and offering to buy him a drink. Now sitting together, they watch an announcement for Jiang Kun's charity auction play on screen, and the stranger complains about Jiang Kun's fame, lamenting his own C-rank status. Fang Wanji's interest is piqued, asking what major event happened 10 years ago. His new acquaintance is stunned. He has never heard of the Great Wall Watch incident. Our boy calmly explains he was completely cut off from the world for 2 decades. Realizing there is a long story to tell, the man listens as Fang Wanji prepares to explain. A flashback reveals a younger Fang Wanji suspended in a containment pod 10 years ago, as he remembers what he was doing then, surviving in a hellish, monster-filled dimension. His only sustenance was a grotesque hamburger made from the flesh of B-rank beasts, which a younger, battle-scarred Fang Wanji devours with glowing green eyes. A grim look of satisfaction crosses his face after finishing the foul meal, his gaze hardening with the cold resolve needed to endure his brutal existence. Surrounded by a sea of monsters, he desperately wished for a life without endless slaughter. At that same time, a heart monitor beeps steadily in a sterile hospital room, where a frail, dying man refuses to eat, begging his attendant to let him go. That attendant, a younger version of the man at the bar, urges his master to stop speaking of death. In a hospital, an old patient compliments his young caretaker's physique while being fed, when suddenly a red emergency alert flashes before the old man's eyes, causing him to recoil. His caretaker stares intently at the same urgent notification, his expression hardening. This announcement calls all B-rank and higher to the Great Wall Watch, a mission with no pay and extreme mortality. With glowing red eyes, the patient declares he has waited his whole life for this and must go. Elsewhere, a different master and his apprentice discuss the alert, the young man worried since he is only C-rank. And the old master recalls hiding from the last call in 1937, an act of cowardice that cost him his family. Vowing to find peace, he prepares to leave, determined not to make the same mistake again. He even retrieves a legendary ice wand, confirming for his apprentice that he is serious. Intrigued by this, the young man decides to follow, trusting his master to handle the danger. With a final command, the two of them head out to answer the call to arms. They arrive at a coastal cliff where a massive army of fighters has already gathered. And the apprentice marvels that every powerhouse in the region seems to be present. This crowd includes a legendary S-rank talent known for killing foes without even moving, and another monster who passed the S-rank test with his bare hands, losing an arm in the process. This old master scoffs, telling his apprentice not to be so easily impressed by S-ranks, before pointing out a different group, explaining that the true big shots are over there. His apprentice's eyes widen in shock as he recognizes the powerful individuals. Among them is Zhanghu, the formidable vice leader of the Central Guild, and beside her stands Dushi, the guild's strategic genius with an unparalleled intellect. An old master and his young apprentice are greeted by a man with a distinctive mustache, when a pale-faced man suddenly grabs the apprentice, mocking his low rank and warning him of death. This young apprentice glares back with fury in his eyes, insulted by the taunt, but his master just laughs, assuring him he will not be watching from the sidelines. Filled with bravado, the apprentice shouts that he is not scared and is ready to fight any invaders, and the man with the mustache chuckles, advising the boy to run if things get too dangerous. Together, the group stands on the shore, looking out at the dark ocean and asking for an update. A report comes in: an unknown object weighing 2 million tons is approaching from the sea, and it is cloaked by holographic shielding, leaving them no choice but to gather their forces. Stunned by the news, the apprentice wonders what could possibly weigh so much, with the mustached man smugly guessing it must be at least 2 aircraft carrier fleets. His master looks on in disbelief, questioning who would send such a massive force. And the group suspects Bicania is behind it, having lured their leader away to a meeting. However, the man with the mustache believes Bicania would not be acting alone in this. Just as a massive glowing object with a honeycomb pattern appears in the sky, it crashes against a massive barrier, sending a colossal wave toward the shore, and the impact is immense, shattering the protective shield with a deafening crack, revealing an entire fleet of warships now sailing through the breached defenses. A flag bearing a distinct red emblem confirms their fears. It is Bicania's forces. This mustached man grins, smugly satisfied that his guess was correct all along. A strategist reveals their ultimate weapon, Heaven's Tear, has a significant chance of being intercepted, but his companion, Mr. Zia, suggests they can win with one blow if their targets are immobilized. From the deck of a warship, a colossal wall of ice erupts from the sea, blocking their path. On the ship, a red-haired warrior in a maid outfit expresses shock that they have already been discovered, while her subordinate questions their chances in a direct confrontation against such power. Their commander, radiating energy, declares they have the nation's strongest fleet and awakened on their side. With his eyes glowing a menacing purple, he steels himself for the coming battle. Vowing to accept death before defeat, he rallies his troops under a squadron of jets, but their opening salvo of electromagnetic cannons is completely blocked by the crystalline barrier, and a panicked pilot realizes his jet cannot stop in time, heading for a direct collision. One by one, the fighter jets slam into the jagged ice spikes, exploding on impact. Deep within the icy fortress, 2 lone defenders stand among the wreckage. This younger of the two expresses disbelief that he and his master managed to block the entire assault, a confident smirk spreading across his face as he declares they can defeat the invaders. Enraged by their defiance, a hulking armored warrior steps forward, calling them arrogant. This commander notes this massive brawler is the perfect tool for the job, as the brute effortlessly lifts a massive torpedo over his head with raw strength. With a mighty heave, he launches the projectile directly at the ice barrier. This torpedo smashes through the ice vines, creating a massive explosion and a breach in their defense. Frustrated, the young defender watches his magic flicker as the enemy breaks through once more. This old master warns his apprentice to get back, preparing to unleash his full power alone, and with glowing eyes, he channels immense energy into the legendary ice wand. His apprentice watches from above, realizing his master is about to use a devastating technique. Taking a deep, frosty breath, he focuses all his energy for the final incantation, unleashing Eternal Frost, a cataclysmic explosion of ice magic that erupts outward, sending a colossal tidal wave of jagged ice surging toward the enemy fleet. In an instant, the entire ocean freezes solid, trapping the warships in place. Every vessel, including the command towers, is completely encased in a thick layer of frost. On the frozen deck, an enemy soldier shivers violently, exclaiming about the bitter cold. So one of his comrades creates a neutralization circle, warning the magic can freeze even S-ranks to death. This frost is relentless, however, instantly creeping up the boot of the approaching commander, who scoffs dismissively, questioning if mere rank magic can truly stop them. Effortlessly shattering the ice on his leg, he calls the defenders hopelessly naive. Back on the shore, the strategist orders Heaven's Tear to strike the enemy from behind, frantically shouting that they are a second too late and the targets will escape. This enemy commander looks up, sensing a massive energy vortex gathering in the sky above, his expression turning to shock as he tries to comprehend the new threat materializing overhead. A brilliant beam of energy, Heaven's Tear, pierces through the sky and the ice barrier, and a frantic cry goes out to run, realizing the attack is aimed at the ship's ammunition. This resulting explosion is immense as a system alert confirms Heaven's Tear is temporarily disabled. This old master strains, sweat pouring down his face from the immense effort, while his apprentice laughs wildly, taunting the invaders for walking into their trap. But his bravado falters as he realizes the true scale of the enemy forces, when the mustached man notes with a smirk that far too many have already broken through. On the other side of the shattered ice, a new squad of elite warriors appears, confirming the entire Chained Islands fleet has committed to this overwhelming assault. Dushi, the guild's strategist, demands an immediate assessment of their combat strength. Her subordinate nervously reports back, confirming their situation looks dire. As the enemy forces are revealed, hundreds of high rankers, including 8 S ranks. In comparison, their own army is drastically outnumbered at every level, with the final tally including a single solitary C-rank fighter. Enraged at being singled out, the young apprentice shouts back in defiance, standing alone before the enemy and proudly declaring his status as a C-rank mage. His master and the mustached man watch on, amused by his reckless courage. Undeterred, the boy faces down the entire opposing army across the frozen battlefield. Believing his area of effect magic can overcome their superior numbers and ranks, his eyes glow with a fierce determination to prove his worth in battle. And with a powerful incantation, he summons a deadly ritual of floating ice blades. But the enemy commander simply orders a colossal warrior to crush the small fry. As the giant leaps forward, the apprentice warns that his magic will freeze anyone on contact. This old master panics that his apprentice will be defeated, but his companion is unconcerned. As the young fighter lunges forward with a feral intensity, shocking his opponent. Both he and the massive brawler are sent plummeting from the ice wall in a chaotic clash, while the mustached man watches the brutal exchange without a hint of worry. Their impact carves a massive crater into the cliffside, shaking the entire battlefield. And though battered and bleeding, the apprentice glares up from the rubble undeterred. Tears stream down his face as he realizes the terrifying power of high rankers. His companion explains the enemy is merely testing their defenses with a B-rank fighter. Across the ice, the brawler scoffs, believing he has seen the full extent of their strength. But in the next instant, his eyes widen in complete and utter disbelief. As the mustached man on the other side reveals a sinister, knowing grin, this brawler looks down to find his leg has been mysteriously and horribly mangled, while a blonde strategist reveals he coated the apprentice in a powerful reactive poison. Now named as Hengang, the brawler collapses as his allies rush to his side in panic, one of them reaching down, desperately trying to stop the bleeding from the gruesome injury. But another warrior screams a warning. The poison is contagious and will kill anyone who touches it. This remaining invaders stare in horror, one of them regretting ever joining this fight. And overwhelmed by the carnage, the young apprentice just wants to escape the slaughter. Back in the present, the stranger asks if that traumatic event is what broke the young man, as the memory of the brawler's body dissolving into a toxic mess lingers. This enemy commander's eyes glow red with pure, unadulterated fury, while the mustached man presents an antidote, sarcastically apologizing for being too late. With cold authority, the commander announces he knows 3 traitors have fled to their side, but the defender points to a bloody mess on the ice, claiming he already eliminated them. His opponent's lie only fuels his rage, demanding they step aside immediately. Yet the mustached man's gaze remains calm and unwavering in the face of the threat. He then exposes their deception, identifying the ship's cannons as Beacania technology, and points to a chip in the paint revealing another nation's flag underneath. Mockingly, he questions why they'd die for a nation that treats them as disposable. This commander and his troops stand in stunned silence, his taunt hitting its mark. Seizing the moment, the mustached man proposes an alliance, promising them genuine friendship. Before adding that the commander probably is not authorized to make that decision anyway, he even dangles the possibility of a high-ranking position if the commander defects. Losing his patience, the commander issues an ultimatum, vowing to cross their border by force. He then commands 20 of his elite warriors to step forward, ready for battle. A female defender panics, urging her leader to stall for reinforcements. But he explains it is meaningless as no one strong enough is nearby to help. Even if they could wait, he knows the enemy must have a backup plan ready. Worried, his companion asks how they can possibly win this fight, while the enemy commander declares he will handle the S-ranks himself, leaving the rest to his troops. His female companion is horrified, asking if he intends to fight 9 S-ranks all by himself. But he simply reminds her that she should already be well aware of his true capabilities. Smirking as he recalls a past victory over their leader that everyone dismissed as mere luck. She furiously argues he only won by tricking them with laxatives, a fact he cheerfully ignores. Across the battlefield, an enemy soldier with a headband prepares to swallow a glowing red pill, swallowing it in one gulp as his comrades do the same, their eyes filled with resolve. With the order to attack given, the enhanced soldiers surge forward in a frenzied charge. Realizing there is no time to think, the female defender braces herself for the inevitable clash. Her mustached companion wonders if the enemy is just sending cannon fodder to probe their strength. A massive wave of berserker soldiers stampedes across the ice, a truly overwhelming force. Their eyes glow a menacing red as they roar in unison, veins bulging with newfound power. This entire squadron transforms into a horde of raging berserkers, their bodies crackling with energy. This old master looks on in horror, realizing they have all consumed the fragment of the jade. Panicked, the female defender screams at her own allies not to charge into the berserker wave. But the old master acts first, summoning a colossal ice dam to block their path. This grand, spiked barrier erupts from the ground, dwarfing the charging soldiers below. Exhausted from the massive spell, the old master clutches his chest, calling for his heart medicine. His apprentice AQE is still on the ground, too injured from his earlier fight to respond. Blood streams from his mouth as he reveals his bones are shattered, completely immobilizing him. Nearby, 2 other defenders can only watch the chaos unfold, powerless to intervene. A white-haired man desperately asks an injured comrade for medicine, who directs him to their pocket. Back at the wall, the defenders know their icy barrier is already failing against the enemy horde. As an explanation reveals, the invaders are using a jade fragment that unleashes 100% of a person's energy. Their incoming assault is compared to 20 heaven's tears, prompting a desperate call for all defensive mages. Out of time and energy, the old master knows he cannot reinforce the wall before it shatters. With no other choice, he pulls out a handful of the mysterious, power-enhancing pellets. And in a moment of sheer desperation, he consumes the dangerous substance in one gulp. Master Fan steadies the old mage, who thanks him as the overwhelming power surges through his body. He channels this newfound energy into the barrier, commanding the ice to crystallize and harden instantly, while another master joins the defense, weaving golden rivers of metal through the ice to fortify it. Two more allies step forward, offering their power to help old Zia hold the line against the onslaught. But on the other side, a lone enemy warrior glows with immense power, facing the reinforced wall alone. Placing a hand on the fortified surface, he admits its toughness as raw energy cracks around his palm. With a surge of strength, he begins to scale the sheer ice cliff, his body a beacon of destructive force. Eyes glowing with pure power, he lets out a triumphant roar, ready to unleash his full might. A single punch connects with the wall, triggering a cataclysmic explosion that shatters their defenses. This defenders stare in horror. A barrier designed to stop an asteroid is crumbling from a single blow. Dashi realizes with dawning terror that if the others attack simultaneously, their entire line will be annihilated. Master Fan leaps into action, telling the others to prepare as he moves to intercept these human bombs himself. But below him, an entire legion of supercharged warriors surges forward, a tide of living explosives. Leaping into the fray, a lone defender smashes his fist into a crowd of glowing red berserkers, while his female comrade joins the fight, vowing to detonate them before they reach full power. Her punch connects with brutal force, staggering one of the living bombs, and with an incredible uppercut, she launches another enemy skyward toward an unknown fate. This launch soldiers then detonate in a blinding flash of light high above the battlefield, their explosions raining down upon the defensive wall, cracking the massive structure under the assault. Seeing his chance, the enemy commander orders his troops to keep her busy while the rest destroy the barrier, and immediately 4 of the berserkers swarm the female warrior, attempting to restrain her. As she is held back, the rest of the suicide squad charges toward their objective. But the warrior just smirks, mocking their belief that the threat of explosion could ever scare her, questioning their foolishness for taking on one of Vigilia's strongest fighters so directly. Suddenly, her captors cry out in shock as they are mysteriously impaled from behind, as a brilliant burst of golden energy erupts from her body, skewering every enemy in her vicinity. Tossing their bodies aside, she watches as her attackers are sent flying into the air. This cavern is now filled with the glowing embers of the defeated, their explosive power neutralized. Elsewhere, a masked man looks on with dread, admitting a strange, soft feeling is scaring him, while a different man with a glowing hand casually smokes, observing the strange melting scenery around him. He glances down as bodies begin to plummet from the sky, splashing into the icy ground below. Looking up to see the sky is filled with countless falling soldiers raining down upon him. With a cold command to drop, the ground erupts in spikes, impaling the falling troops in a brutal display. This mustached man smirks, explaining his plan to launch enemies 10,000 meters high. This unique talent for precision makes these overwhelming battles almost trivial for him, as his ice shards instantly neutralize an entire squad of enemy fighters with perfect accuracy. Meanwhile, a long-haired S-rank defender uses a horrifying poison to dissolve their bodies into skeletons. But he senses something is amiss, realizing the invaders' strategy does not quite add up, questioning why they'd push forward when a greater trap awaits them further inland. This defenders debate the invaders' true motives, unable to understand their reckless assault. Even a fire-wielding warrior wonders what goal could possibly justify such a costly invasion. Back at the command post, the strategist orders a 3-minute countdown for Heaven's Tier. While on the battlefield, the poison user instructs his subordinate Chixeo to stay back and count the enemy. With eyes glowing ominously, he gives a final chilling order: kill every last one of them. An opposing S-rank steps forward, identifying him as a fellow poison user, challenging him with a grotesque, tentacled poison sprout sword. This bald warrior brings his blade crashing down on a massive skeletal wall, but his attack is completely ineffective against the S-rank enchanted beast. Watching the S-rank duel, the young apprentice knows he must buy time for their strategist. As another defender, a female warrior, gathers brilliant orange energy in her hand, she unleashes a devastating barrage of light beams called Kusanagi no Tsurugi. Yet even this powerful attack leaves her battered and shocked by her opponent's strength. Realizing she will die if she holds back, she prepares to unleash Buddha's Doom Stage 3. This female warrior unleashes a furious roar, her incredible speed overwhelming her opponent's blade, forcing him to summon the Yada no Kagami, a legendary shield to block her assault. He is stunned that she can push him this far with just one arm, calling her a monster. Their powers collide in a blinding explosion of light and force, shaking the battlefield. But realizing her third stage is not enough, she contemplates unleashing an even greater power. She knows this is no mere duel. One wrong move could mean her immediate demise. Her opponent, however, smirks confidently, believing the fight is going exactly as planned, while a battered and frustrated warrior screams at Dashi to finally join the battle. But he just shouts back, telling her to be quiet while he tries to think of a plan. Taking a brutal hit, she furiously questions if his promise to handle the S-ranks was just a lie. As his own men panic around him, lost without a clear objective or a path to victory. Suddenly, a foot crackling with lightning descends upon Dashi, catching him completely off guard, yet a manic grin spreads across his face as he seems to welcome the attack. He effortlessly catches the attacker's leg, proposing a strange solution to their dilemma. and the newcomer, a man with an afro and sunglasses, glares down with cold intensity. Dashi whispers that he has already figured out the enemy's true objective, prompting the lightning wielder to immediately leap away toward the enemy lines, descending upon a squadron of unsuspecting soldiers like a bolt from the heavens. Dashi then reveals his ruse, standing among what appear to be petrified soldiers, as the female warrior watches on, finally understanding his bizarre and brilliant strategy. A muscular warrior is stunned by a sudden attack that takes down her comrade from nowhere, while Dashi confronts the enemy commander, Mr. Mishima, questioning his unexpected arrival. With dawning horror, Mishima realizes that Dashi has somehow figured out their entire secret plan. He immediately issues a new order for all S-ranks to abandon their posts and prioritize killing Dashi. Burning with rage, the commander declares their most dangerous opponent must be eliminated at all costs. Elsewhere, a female defender with a massive sword rallies her troops, urging them into the fight. A fighter in a large straw hat acknowledges the boss's call, signaling for his allies to move out. Another warrior cuts through the chaos with a glowing pink blade, wondering about the sudden rush. This shirtless S-rank watches them all depart, impressed that Dashi could command such attention. Standing beside a massive spirit beast, he complains that this relentless battle offers no time to rest. Meanwhile, the old master engages an enemy mage, conjuring ice magic to counter a fiery spell circle. His opponent unleashes a powerful 1,000 torches attack, a swirling disc of destructive red energy. But the mage quickly abandons the fight, choosing to follow Mishima's new orders instead. Refusing to let him escape, the old master ensnares the fleeing S-rank in a 4-leafed ice cage. This trapped warrior struggles against his prison, cursing the old man's relentless persistence. Knowing Dashi is overwhelmed, the master resolves to at least take down this one enemy himself. He strains to maintain the spell, panting as he wishes he were 10 years younger. Just then, a hulking armored warrior appears behind him, ordering him to get out of the way. In a flash, the armored giant is decapitated by an unseen ally who scolds him for dawdling. This old master's weapon clatters to the icy ground, his fate suddenly hanging in the balance. In a flash, another enemy soldier is decapitated, his body left standing lifelessly, while defenders with glowing weapons carve through the invaders with brutal efficiency. But elsewhere, a blonde warrior finds herself surrounded and completely overwhelmed. Bloodied and beaten, she can only call out for her master in utter despair. Pinned to the ground by an immense pressure, she struggles against her captors, her fear turning to pure rage as she vows to kill every last one of them. Meanwhile, a horned berserker charges a lone poison user, radiating with killing intent, catching the robed defender completely by surprise with his sheer speed. Yet the defender grins, revealing a magic circle trapping the warrior in place. This trap allows him to finally aim his deadly poison sprouts with perfect accuracy. From above, he directs the swirling purple tendrils to strike his immobilized foe. But the horned warrior unleashes his full power, summoning a demonic golden rod. He smashes it down, creating a scorching flame carpet that engulfs the area, forcing the poison user to narrowly escape behind a hastily made defensive web. His attacker mocks him for only being good at running away as the poison strikes empty ground, though a strategist reveals this was all a feint to lure him into Taijing's trap below. At that moment, the mustached warrior Taijing activates a massive, glowing weapon, unleashing a colossal pillar of energy that erupts from beneath the battlefield. This strategist watches the explosion, confirming his subordinate has struck their target, just as a massive arcing blade of pure energy comes slicing down towards them. A decapitated enemy lies impaled on the ice, his allies staring in disbelief at the impossible speed of the kill. This long-haired defender stands calmly on the shattered ground, his work already done. Holding the corpse by its collar, he casually remarks that S-ranks are indeed a bit troublesome. Realizing their one-on-one strategy failed, the enemy commander orders his remaining elites to attack together. But he holds two back, instructing them to observe from a distance and strike at the perfect moment. On the vast ice field, the lone defender now finds himself completely surrounded by powerful foes. One of the S-ranks in white robes calls to his straw-hatted partner to help him pin their target down, and his ally begins to channel a dark power, preparing an attack he calls Groundless Hell. A swirling vortex erupts from the ice, though the defender narrowly avoids its pull, prompting the white-robed man to immediately unleash another technique, the Great Seal. With a command to drop, a colossal block of energy materializes high above the battlefield. This defender is caught directly underneath, straining to hold back the crushing weight of the assault. Gritting his teeth, he admits that fighting multiple S-ranks at once is proving to be a challenge, as he realizes their plan is to slowly force him down into the deadly vortex at his feet. Seeing him pinned, another enemy S-rank wreathed in lightning rushes in for the kill. This attacker notes that with his hands occupied, the poison master is completely defenseless. Vowing to kick right through him, the lightning user launches himself into a devastating dive kick, his attack connecting with brutal force against the trapped defender. A comrade screams a warning, reminding the attacker that he is facing the monster who killed Tetsuchu. But the defender just smirks, mocking them for being idiots even at the S-rank level. As the kick lands, the defender's body dissolves into a strange, teal-colored liquid. Believing it is just poison, the attacker vows to evaporate it all with his lightning. Suddenly, a drop of the strange substance splashes onto his face and he freezes in shock. In an instant, his flesh melts away, leaving only a poisoned skeleton for his allies to see. Reforming with a sinister grin, the poison master reveals they all came far too close. An enemy commander stares in disbelief, questioning how Tojo was killed in a single moment. His eye glowing with a unique pattern as he activates a power to analyze the situation. This defender unleashes his true power, a massive cloud of poison erupting from his body, which quickly expands into a massive, deadly sphere of toxic fog over the ice. Trapped within the fog, one S-rank chides his bald comrade for jumping in alone, but with no one to cover him, the bald warrior is caught and begins to suffocate. Just then, a female warrior with a red blade descends, mocking them for feeling relieved. A crazed smile spreading across her face as she declares she's been waiting for this moment. She unleashes a flurry of arcing red slashes, cutting down multiple defenders in an instant. Surrounded by a pink aura, she hovers over the battlefield, looking down at her next target. Now wounded, the long-haired defender finds himself facing the remaining S-ranks alone. As a new wave of elite enemies surrounds him, including an armored giant and the swordswoman. Wiping blood from his face, he realizes 6 elites remain and wonders how much longer he can last. From a distance, the enemy commander declares that the outcome of the entire battle rests on this fight. But the strategist with the special eye makes a shocking realization. Dashi has no poison abilities at all. A horned S-rank reveals Mishima is using his omniscient eye to expose their target's secrets. His vision penetrating the defender's defenses and spotting a storage spell inside his mouth. This analysis shows his entire body is covered in spells that activate with muscle movement. This horned warrior then prepares to show his armored ally the exact locations of these weak points. Other S-ranks mock the defender's tactics, dismissing him as a real threat now that he is exposed. And a cat-tiered warrior declares his poison useless, reducing him to a common fighter. Unfazed, the poison master simply asks so what, as he rips off his tattered cloak, instantly launching himself forward and kicking off the ground with explosive force. He lands a brutal kick on the cat-tiered warrior, mocking her overconfidence, leaving her stunned by his incredible speed, unable to react despite knowing poison was coming. This defender questions if his poison is truly useless just because they can see its source. A splash of green toxin hits her directly in the face as a red spell circle activates. Surrounded by purple tendrils, he challenges them to a battle of attrition with his poison sprouts. But he notices a strange rash on his own hand, realizing their poison works like a plague. Deducing their plan is to wear him down slowly, though he declares there is nothing to fear. This poison master reveals he already possesses an antidote, conjuring it in his glowing hand, and slams the cure into his own body, purging the enemy's plague with a burst of energy. Just then, a uniformed officer appears from nowhere, forcing him to block a surprise attack, while the massive armored warrior looms over him, winding up for a devastating punch, forcing the defender to quickly manifest a poison armor to protect himself from the blow. This lightning user smashes the defender into the ice over and over again. Their commander praises the poison user for holding out against his 9 greatest fighters, but the defender, looking battered, breathes a sigh of relief as if it was all an act. He reveals with a smirk that his enemies fell for his ruse once again. Knowing it is not time yet, he plans to lure them in closer for his real trap, as an enemy with a glowing pink blade moves in for what she thinks is a finishing blow. Her bald ally shouts a warning, telling her to back off from the close-range fight, prompting the other S-ranks to all charge in at once in a chaotic frenzy. And their uncoordinated assault leads to friendly fire, with one warrior taking an accidental hit. From afar, Mishima explains the defender is exploiting their cramped formation to move freely, using their own bodies as obstacles to weave between their uncoordinated attacks. This horned warrior realizes they must immediately change their attack formation. So Mishima suggests a new strategy with a vanguard and a rear guard for more space. This new plan will block the poison user's line of sight, leaving him open to surprise attacks, and the horned warrior eagerly leaps into the air to put the new strategy into action. As the S-ranks re-engage, the defender on the ground coolly notes their tactical shift, but he just grins, holding a strange green substance that makes their new plan perfect for him. One of the attackers boasts about his powerful defenses, second only to Mishima's legendary shield. Just as the horned warrior dives down, ordering an attack before a second poison wave is released, he ignites his massive cross-shaped weapon, roaring that he has finally arrived for the kill. A fire wielder unleashes a jail of fire, vowing to incinerate the poison master's spells. With demonic red eyes, the horned warrior brings her blade down in a vicious strike. But to her shock, the blade has gone right through her own body, leaving her impaled. Her attacker gloats that while her defense is strong, his offense is even stronger, piercing her completely. Far from the battle, 2 figures sit at a high-tech bar, casually discussing the events unfolding, and the blue-haired man smirks, commenting on how the S-ranks are being taken down so easily, while his long-haired companion explains that at their level, S-rank is merely an entry requirement. He then questions how Dashi could possibly have eliminated 2 S-ranks at the same time. This answer is simple, his companion states. Dashi finally revealed his true talent. This scene cuts to a battered Dashi who grins as his talent finally activates with a golden aura, and on the battlefield, everyone witnessed his true power for the very first time, revealing himself as a fighting class awakened, a fact no one could have ever predicted.